comprehend the message of your gospel. Instill in us also reverence for your blessed commandments, so that having accomplished simple desires, we may pursue a spiritual life, thinking and doing all those things that are pleasing to you. For you, Christ, our God, and the light of our souls and bodies, and to you we give glory together with your fathers without beginning, your all holy, good and life in the Spirit, now and ever to the ages of ages. Wisdom arise, let us hear the gospel. Peace be with you all.
And with your spirit.
The reading of the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. Let us be attentive.
Glory to you, O Lord. Glory to you.
At that time Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he dismissed the crowds, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. And when evening came, he was there alone, but the boat by this time was many furlongs distant from the land, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And in the fourth watch of the night he came to them walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out for fear. But immediately he spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I, have no fear." And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, bid me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." And Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "O man of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they entered the boat, the wind ceased. And those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly are you the Son of God." And when they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret.
Glory to you, O Lord. Glory to you.
Good morning to all of you. I can't believe it's the end of August now, almost. Today I want to talk about two things about love and fear. And as I was thinking about St. Peter, and when he first saw Christ on the water, he said he became afraid. It's a ghost. And I think a lot of times in our lives we're not sure what to do with fear. Fear, the acronym is false expectations appearing real. So many times we have so many false expectations appearing real, and it debilitates us. It closes us down. It keeps us from seeing God. It keeps us from responding to the challenges in life with love and grace. And I was thinking about Shel Silverstein, who wrote this poem on fear, Barnabas Browning. Barnabas Browning was scared of drowning, so he never would swim or get in a boat or take a bath or cross a moat. He just sat day and night with his door locked tight and the windows nailed down, shaking with fear that a wave might appear. And he cried so many tears that they filled up the room. And then he drowned. And this is what we do in our own life. We shut the door, we fill up the room with tears, and we drown in our own tears because of our fear. And as I was thinking about fear, I was thinking, what is it that you really are tightened and bound up about? If I had an hour, I don't think we'd have enough time to talk about the fears that debilitate you. And you become the Barnabas Browning that's fearful of drowning. And what are you fearful of drowning from? Is it flying? Is it heights? Is it relationships? Is it death? What's some fears? Give me a couple fears that you know people have or you have.
Suffering.
The fear of suffering. I mean, the fear of suffering is really real. And as I was talking to Pauline, there's a fear of suffering as she responds to the cancer that's come back. There's a fear of suffering. What else? What other fears? Fear of rejection. Anyone ever fear of rejection? I'm afraid. I can't go there. No, they're going to reject me. I mean, because what happens is we don't know who we are. Why would we be afraid if you know who you are? Because we're not sure who we are, so they're going to reject us. Any other fears?
Dying.
Dying?
Failure.
Failure. Anyone afraid of failing?
I was going to say math test.
Math test. Who is afraid of math test? Oh my God, not math majors. No, math majors can't wait for the math test to prove how smart they are. Well, anyone afraid of spiders? Oh, I want to share a story with you about spiders. Sorry, the movie screen is going on. Thank you very much. I don't know who's going to see this, but my daughter gave me permission to share the story. Some of you have heard it. I was in bed 11:15 at night, tired. My daughter had a really good friend of hers over at the house, very strong woman, 20-year-old soccer player, just hanging out, and I'm in bed. 11:15, all of a sudden I hear, "Dad! There's a spider! Help! Help!" And I'm looking at my wife and I can't believe this. She's 20 years old. She's screaming in the house, and there's a capable 2 women that are old enough to take care of a spider. I don't know how big the spider was. So I said, "Maria, take care of it." "No, Dad, I can't. I need your help." I'm looking at my wife, I'm thinking, should I get up or not? I said, "I'm not getting up." I said, "Take care of it, Maria, you can do it." And all of a sudden, this is a long story, so I'll give you the Cliff Note version. So all of a sudden, they're scurrying around. They got a frying pan. Put the frying pan on. Sorry, Maria. So, okay, we got it. So I get in there. Oh, yeah. And all of a sudden, he gets up. Oh, there goes. Oh, wow. Cricket, I'll give you $20, please. $20. Do it. So, I'm looking at my wife and say, she goes, "Should I get up?" "Don't get up. She'll take care of it." To make a long story short, this goes on for half an hour. Not half an hour. Maybe a little bit more, a little less. Around half an hour. Around 1:45 to midnight, she comes in. I'm thinking, I'm just devastated. I'm so tired. She comes in and she comes in the door, slams the door. She says, "Dad, you knew I was really scared. Spider, what happened to you? Come here." She takes my hand, "Feel my chest." She puts my hand on her chest. "Don't you see him? It's real." I said, "Honey, I know it's real. I didn't doubt it, but I need you to take care of it." "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. Why didn't it take you 1 hour or 2 hours to take care of the situation?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Honey, it could have taken you 1 hour or 2 hours. You did it in an hour." I said, "Can you imagine the next time you see a spider, you take care of it in 5 or 10 minutes? And maybe someday you won't be afraid of that spider." A miracle happened. The next week, my kids were playing, Nicholas is still in Greece, but they were playing cars, and Maria was, and she saw a spider on the wall. And she got a tissue paper. Without any hesitation, she goes and she takes care of it, and she puts it outside. A miracle happened. And I was thinking about today, the miracles that happen in life. Not the kind of miracle that we see, a miracle that pretends it's mayonnaise, or the miracle of popcorn. You put a flat bag and all of a sudden it gets big, you push a button in the microwave. There's a miracle of drugs, right? Polio at one time was a devastating, you could call it a miracle drug. You see a car that's flipped over, smashed and squeezed, and the drivers walk out and say, "Oh, that's a miracle." Wow. Today I want to talk about not the miracle that my daughter took a spider off the wall. Not the miracle of people surviving incredible, catastrophic situations. I'd like for us to talk about the miracle of meeting God. Today is a great miracle. Because Peter just left the Lord after he fed the 5,000. He said, "Go, take off on your own. I'll meet up with you," Jesus says. And he says, "With us, I'll meet up with you." Take care of your business. And they take care of the business, and all of a sudden, the miracle, it's not the miracle for me, not the miracle of walking on water. If the Lord can suspend the earth, he can do whatever he wants. So
Some people say, you walk on the side of the water. Some people say, there are rocks, you're stepping on rocks. If the Lord can suspend the heavens and the earth, He walked on the water. That's not the miracle for me. The miracle for me is at that time, Jeffrey, that He met up with Peter, and Peter was so caught up in himself that he didn't know who Jesus was. A ghost! Oh, the spider! Oh! And then what happens? We separate our heads and hearts, and our head takes over. And when fear takes over, you know what happens. It becomes very real. And I don't want to disrespect anyone here who has serious fear. It becomes very real. The anxieties of people debilitate people to the point where they can't get out of the house. Tell me about that. One thought that just goes in your mind. One thought that comes in and takes over. One thought, that's a ghost. The miracle for me was not Christ walking on the water. The miracle was the invitation of Jesus saying, come and see. It is I, have no fear. Take courage. And today the Lord's asking you to think about what your spiders are that keep you away from being real, from being connected to your soul, to your body, so you can see Jesus. And he was able to see. He said, yes, Lord, it's you. And then he said, and this is what we do. If it's you, I know it's you, give me this. I don't know what your give me is, but today the give me was, let me walk on the water. You know what? Jesus will give you whatever it takes for your salvation. So he walks on the water, Peter does. And he was fine looking at Christ, directed and focused. And all of a sudden he noticed, like it wasn't going on before, he noticed the storm. It was going on, but he was so focused on Jesus. He was so focused at the center of Jesus Christ that he didn't notice anything that was going on, because Christ was connected to Jesus and God's grace and His love. We can walk on water in the sense of doing miraculous things united with His grace. Today, what I think I like for you to ponder and pray about is not Jesus walking on the water. You can do beyond walking on the water. The thing I want you to consider is how the Lord is saying to you, have courage. It is I, don't fear. Don't let this fear consume you, because it keeps me and you having a relationship. Today the Lord's asking you for a deep relationship with you. It says in Timothy, I believe, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Today you're being invited to connect with a great God who loves you so much, to be united, to have a sound mind, to have this kind of power of love that doesn't dominate, but connects and heals. In Isaiah 41:13 it says, for I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, don't fear, I will help you. Today he's saying to everyone here, whatever your spider is, my daughter has many spiders, I have many spiders. I can tell you about my spiders when I have a cup of coffee. I'll tell you my spiders. But I know when we meet Jesus on the water, and he says, and listen to these words, may it settle in your soul, whatever the fear is, may it settle in your soul. Take courage. Cor comes from the Latin word heart. Speak from your heart, because that's where you meet God. Take courage. Don't have any fear. It is I. And with that, you will walk on water. You will walk on water. And watch, when you walk on water and you worry about, oh, what if I lose this? Oh, suffering, what if God doesn't really meet me in my suffering? Oh, see how quickly we can get off the eyesight and the correct connection with our Lord. Today, I'd like for us to pay attention to having that courage, knowing that God is nearer than we even can fathom, and to realize when we take our eyes off God, that we will sink. Trust me, we will sink. But you know what? He sees that and he puts his hands down. But you know, we got to reach our hands up. Everyone reach your hands up. You might think you're crazy. Keep your hand up. And I'm thinking right now, how is God going to lift you up? Lift you up. In your heart to love him and to walk on water, to overcome any fear that takes you away from his grace.